You're listening to the Shipyard Cat Podcast, the unofficial SAFC podcast for fans everywhere.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the pod. We're here to talk about that almighty, lovely, gorgeous, whatever words you want to use today, 2-1 win against the home team. Joining me to discuss this and relish in this moment, we have Robin and we have Kev. Robin, I'll start with you today, mate. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm quite chipper actually, mate.
Good stuff, good stuff. And Kev, likewise, how are you today, mate?
I've had worse days, boys.
Exactly. All good, all good. First things first, boys, I want to cover off a little bit of major housekeeping, shall I say. And that's all of us here at the pod is sharing our thoughts and prayers with Gertruida at the minute, because obviously during the game was stopped for, I believe, around 5 or 6 minutes due to some racist chants and racist mockings, shall we say, of Gertruida. And as we've said plenty of times on this pod, there's no room for racism. I don't know if you guys want to shed your quick 2 minutes on that.
Oh yeah, I mean you're right. There's no room for racism. I mean it's 2026. It's not the Middle Ages sort of thing. It's absolutely disgraceful. Am I surprised? Not really. You saw the scenes before the match, them throwing bottles and stuff at the coach. And at fans walking along with a police escort, they had to be protected. So, yeah, is it a surprise it happened? Not to me.
Echo your thoughts as well, lads. I mean, yeah, for me, it's knuckle dragger culture. It shouldn't happen. It's disgusting that it even does happen. And fair play to the lads for actually having the guts to speak up about it in the game, because they could have quite easily just taken the abuse and then dealt with it after the game. But to actually kind of during that moment say to the referee, I'm getting grief over here. It's not rivalry when it's like that. That's not banter. I don't care what label someone wants to put on it. But yeah, there's no room for it. And I hope whoever it is, those around him or her, actually tell the club who it was. They don't just hide behind the someone in the stands.
Mm-hmm.
But, the type of fan base they are, they'll probably all go, dunno, didn't hear it. And that'll be that.
Exactly. So we can only hope that obviously the local authorities do their bit. I know we as a club, we've already launched investigations. I believe the Premier League are also investigating as well. So things will be done accordingly. But let's get into the proceedings then of the game. Obviously, by that time, that whole thing was kicking off. They were 1-0 up and were doing somewhat okay, shall we say. The first half, to me personally, that first half was all Newcastle. They dominated the game. Obviously, we'll touch on the goals properly in a moment. But that first half was the Newcastle show. We can't deny that. And then second half, to me, I know I didn't say it to you guys in the chat, but that was like a whole different Sunderland team. They just came out. They had that belief. They had that oomph that we had at the start of the season by going, yeah, we're a goal down, but we can change this. And obviously, we lived up to that once again till the end mantra. Kev, Robin, I'll let either of you jump in because obviously I know we're all really buzzing about the results still, so this is going to be fun.
Well, it's a cliche, isn't it? It's a game of two halves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, the first half, I don't think we were really at the races. I think it was a bit naive to think we'd get away against their press. With the speed that they've got up front, they have got speed up front. I don't understand why they didn't see the danger and just, elbow, just kick a long ball. Obviously it looked like 09 did panic a little bit, got closed down a lot quicker than what he thought he was going to. I mean, the Newcastle player was in the 18-yard box when the goal kick was taken and he pressed 09. So technically, I mean, is it one of those that it could have gone back to VAR and said, hang on a minute, you're inside the box.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, 09 to me just sort of like he panicked a little bit because he got closed down so quick, not expecting it. Gave the ball away. Yeah, so it's a well taken goal, but it was preventable. I mean, that's the last 3 goals that we've conceded have come from real bad errors.
I was going to say it was a moment of madness, really, wasn't it? I think I said that in the chat. It was a suicide pass from Elborg into Luke, and Luke then slips and, well, just has an absolute wobbler. You know, it's moments like that that can define your game. I think we were lucky in the fact that it happened so early on that there was chance to kind of dust ourselves off and then kind of try and grow back into the game. That sort of thing happens in the second half, you probably go to bits. But yeah, it's that kind of game.
Yeah.
Where mistakes are going to happen. The noise at that point in the game, their fans were quite loud, whistling and jeering and trying to get in the heads. I think you got to think that was Luke's second Premier League start, and it was Elborg's third. So there was naturally going to be probably some nerves for the size of the occasion. Normally Luke would have probably not been on the pitch, and you'd have had Ballard there, and Ballard normally drifts more to the right. So realistically, that pass doesn't happen. Anyway, we could go on all day about analysing the game. Let's just talk about the fact that we beat them again.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to touch on there. Yeah, obviously, Luke's even said himself, he's went to the lads, he's apologised at the end of the game, saying he holds his hand up. It was his mistake that led to the goal. Don't get me wrong, for them, credit where credit's due, being in the right place at the right time to be able to slot that in the back of the net anyway. We move on. But we all knew at that point, because of the press that they were playing, that could have been 2s, 3s, 4s. And even they think themselves they should have probably been up 3-0 by half time because the amount of press they did. Fast forward the second half, we started off the better team. Then obviously that bit of madness, shall we say, from their fans, which obviously delayed the game. To me personally, this is where I want to get your guys' thoughts on. That little stop and play, because of the momentum we had and because of what then obviously transpired out of it. And of course, Sunderland fans would have seen that because they would have got notifications on the phone why it was stopped and things like that. Do we think that's what then was used to galvanise the team to go, right, you know what? Let's stick it to them right now and push on them.
I mean, it could be. It could be one of the things that did it. I just think that second half we came out completely different anyway, and I think that obviously Regis's team talk at half time, whatever it was, worked because we came out with a different fire in our belly than what we did in the first half.
Indeed, yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it can give them that mindset that they're not going to let something like that affect them, and they're going to try even harder. But I think the way the lads were playing anyway, I just think that they'd got it in their heads that there was something to get out of that match.
Indeed, yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's it's a bit doom and gloom first half, but second half we were by far the better team. I mean, the stats proved it.
100%, mate. You're spot on there. This is where I want to then obviously start bringing in regards to goals and get Kev's thoughts on it. So then you can jump in your thoughts as well, Robin. Talby, the first goal. Obviously, was unlucky in the first half to not score that absolute screamer that he took the shot of. It was clawed away. But then, once again, we can say the same thing for Talby. Right place, right time to slot that in a crowded area was phenomenal. I'm not going to talk about their offside goal because it was offside. We don't care. Let's just talk about us. So yeah, Talby, and then obviously 89th minute, Senor Brobby steps up again. Unlucky with the chest down, but Ramsdale parried it out right to his feet and probably doing what Brobby's done all season, poached it in.
You've got to take your chances. This is the key thing. You look at we had a few opportunities actually that could have been some screamers.
Mhm.
Obviously, Toby has that shot, like you mentioned in the first sort of phase, and Ramsdale gets a hand to it, pushes it over. Xhaka has one where he also has a crack from distance, and it bobbles off the back of one of theirs and hits the top of the net.
Mhm.
You know, if those kind of goals go in, you're like wow moments, especially when all I've seen online is fans screaming that these players need to shoot more. Well,
Mhm.
they're trying, but you know, in the scenario that was Newcastle's defence, they're throwing two, three players at the ball every time you try and take a shot. They're just lucky in the fact that it always seems to hit a body part that's not the hand.
Mhm.
But I thought we did really well. Yeah, was there a little bit of luck on our side? Possibly with the offside goal. Yes, it was offside, but some weeks that's not spotted by the referee and there's a goal.
Mhm. Mhm.
We were lucky on this occasion that Anthony Taylor did see it. And the one thing I would say is I quite enjoyed the highlights when they showed it on ref cam, obviously because he
Mhm.
had the headset on and the camera on his face, didn't he? So yeah, it was quite interesting sort of seeing his like the ref's eye view almost of it.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, perseverance, game of two halves is exactly the right terminology to use to describe that, really, because first half we weren't in it. I don't think fully. You know, quite easily we could have gone in at half time, probably two or three down. But the lads dug in. You know, Luke at half time will have been saying his sorries, and I think Xhaka will have probably been the one that said, "These things happen. Dust yourself off and go out there in the second half and sort your life out." Um, Obviously, we all saw on social the amount of fans going nuts about the lack of substitutions. I actually think it works in our favour leaving them as late as we did,
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
by that point they'd had their six substitutions. Because obviously they got the extra one for Botman deciding to try and header Robbie's foot. Um, but yeah, I think we did really well. I think Regis managed the game brilliantly, and I think we got what we deserved out of that. If I'm honest with you, lads.
Yeah, 100%. I think what got me with the substitutions, it sort of showed that, the lads that came back weren't really fit enough to come on.
Mhm.
Because you say, I mean, if you can give, half an hour, you get half an hour sort of thing. But I think it was a case of having the experience on the bench just in case they were needed. But realistically, them lads, it's going to be hard for them to, take part. And I think it was well managed. Obviously, he realised that that we needed to have people out there that were fit. Um, I mean, I just want to touch on Robbie's goal because the composure shown by Enzo to just calmly, rather than put the ball across first time, just let it run down at
Mhm.
the touchline and take that little bit of time just to find that slot back to Robbie. It was great. I mean, it showed his class really. I want to make a special mention for Chris Rigg as well, to be honest, because I thought he was absolutely fantastic today.
Mhm.
I mean, this
Agree.
is an 18-year-old lad who's not played that many minutes. You know, at the sort of club where all of his family support. Obviously, I sort of put it to bed more than once that he feels more strongly about Sunderland than what he does about Newcastle. Obviously, he's been here for a long time with us. But yeah, I thought he was great. I know, Sky gave probably the, man of the match award, but I think, Chris Rigg had to be up there with him because I thought he was fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. If you think as well, Riggy was asked at the end of the game by Sky, can we actually call you a Mackham now? And his words turned and went, yeah, why not? And what I did like was one, he was the last to leave the pitch today. And two, the fact being he FaceTimed his dad at the end of the game and showed him all the Sunderland fans chanting, saying, "This is what you're missing out on." So I think that was a touch of class by Ricky, just trying to wind up his dad and be like, "Come on, we've won up you again." So it's always good to see that. One thing I want to touch base on as well is the yellow cards that we've received today. Not in a bad way. I want to talk about them, that these cards that we picked up were very tactical yellow cards to get to stop certain attacks from them. One of them being Omar Alderete. Osula, or however you pronounce his name, apologies, but he was just about to race through, and with his speed, he can cause teams problems. That, to me, Alderete did that at the right time and at the right moment. I want to get, obviously, Robin, you as a coach, I don't know, would you say that to your team, saying if you need to make that tactical decision in those moments, do it? Or would you be like, see if you've got a man covering you?
Oh, obviously, as I said in the chat, I thought it was a really, really good card to take.
Yeah.
It's one of those that, you're not in danger of getting a red, but you need to stop that attack. Yeah, I mean, it's a bit mad because obviously I think when he picked that one up, I mean, a few minutes before, I think it was Dan Burn had pulled down Brian probably, but he played advantage. And really, the referee should have gone back to put down Burn, but he didn't. Obviously there's a situation earlier in the game with Alanga, going up for a header and sticking out his leg, catching Hume in the midriff. I mean, that's an easy yellow card. And yet, I don't even think he was spoken to. It was some strange decisions. But yeah, I mean, that one by Alderete, I think, was a good yellow card.
Yeah. One thing I want to see Kev's thoughts on it, because Kev brought it up in the preview, talking about Joe Linton trying to play the smart games and the mind games of the hustle and bustle, throwing players around or trying to push them around. But in fact, Brian Brobby, who is, I would say about half the size of Joe Linton, somehow managed to pick him up and throw him across the field as if he was a paperweight.
Yeah, I thought, all things said and done, I thought Joe Linton actually was one of their worst players. He kind of was not involved in a lot other than spectating our two goals. Yeah, I just felt, for all the size of their players in terms of Dan Burn, Voltamada, Joe Linton, they all seem soft as you like. They can't stand up. They fall over every set piece. For me, it was an attempt at the dark arts, but they couldn't do it, if that makes sense. I think 3 or 4 times, I think Robin, you put it in the chat, where Dan Burn kept going over. And it's like, well, why is he going over? There's no one near him other than his own players. And it's like they're trying to get the decisions. And it just
You
didn't
could
work
see
in
that
their
on the
favor.
corner, couldn't you? When Dan Burn fell to the ground and he threw Luke to the ground, and he's like, "Ref, Luke's just brought me to the ground." And it's like I think it was Sky, when they showed the replay, and it showed Dan Burn slipped on his own foot and then dragged Luke down to be like, "Wait a minute, what's going on?" And the problem is, in this day and age, as you probably going to just say there, sometimes that gets given.
That's the
I mean,
biggest problem with it.
I don't think, obviously, I mean, the ref got that one right because he gave the foul against Burn.
Of course, yeah.
I must say, obviously, it's like, I did say about that in the preview and stuff, and I know we've spoken about it. It was one of the things that worried me because obviously Luke can get very handsy. I thought he was quite good today. I thought he kept it to a minimum. But yeah, I mean, their players were holding, pulling, seemed to get away with it. I mean, there's the one where I think Brobby had rolled Botman. They were both had a handful of shirt. Then Botman takes 3 more steps and throws himself to the floor, and the ref blows up.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just a strange affair when you see players doing that. I know it's part of the ethos of players today, but it's something you don't like to see. I do want to give a special mention to Mr. Risa for them. Obviously, when it got announced that Robbie had the Man of the Match award and Sunderland put it on their Instagram, Mr. Risa decided to like that post, which I think has stirred the pot with a fair few up the road and a certain streamer, shall we say, or vlogger, whatever you want to call them, that Robin put in the chat. It was just hilarious seeing just the sheer meltdown a simple like has caused.
I mean, I don't really read much into that at all. I know obviously we wouldn't be happy about it if it was the other way round and stuff, but at the end of the day, these are professional football players, and they're sort of like supporting each other's careers and that. They don't. I mean, I think that showed real naivety from Wissa that he didn't fully understand what that match is about.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm not really gonna dig a player out for liking a social media post. I think it's a bit pathetic, to be honest. I think obviously the meltdown that we've seen from their fans and their internet stars, etc. It's it's just ridiculous, really. It was they don't like it. I mean, that they can't beat us. I mean, that's what 11 games unbeaten, which is the longest run that any team's done now in this particular fixture. And it hurts. It does hurt, but I think it was well deserved by us on that second half performance. And I think you saw the passion in our lads compared to them. That our lads get it. I mean, when you listen to Xhaka and Bobby after the game, and Bobby was saying about, the fans and they never leave them. It's for the fans. I think that's the difference. I think the players that we've got in this group of players, they really appreciate and understand how much this club means to the fans.
Yeah.
And when you've got a group like that, then they are going to give everything for the shirt. I mean, like I say, the meltdown from their lot about how much of a disgrace they are and putting no effort in, etc. It sort of shows in a way that they're there for the money.
Yeah, definitely.
Whereas they're not. The lads that have come into our team, they've bought into the whole ethos of the club, the project as they call it.
Yeah. I want to touch on Elborg as well. You mentioned obviously the likes of the players that you just touched on there as well. At full time, Elborg was not consoled, that's a type of wrong word, but he was crying his eyes out because obviously that's the first derby obviously he's played in. And we've won the game. And I think it's just that kind of occasion, as you've mentioned before, Robin, would it get to him because of how important it is and things like that. But he was obviously really happy and he was like, get in, we've won. And it's just that raw emotion when you have a big game like this and you come out of it with 3 points, it means the world to you. And the last thing I just want to touch on, what the hell was that tifo? It looked like it was done by Poundland.
Well, look, I mean,
That's the truth. I know they don't have fans to fund it like we do. They have to have some help because they can't afford it.
oh look, I mean, I'm not going to criticise the team for trying to make an effort to do something. I mean, it's that thing that everyone. I don't understand how we've been like doing this sort of thing a bit longer than them, and yet they get more publicity for it.
Yeah.
Vendors flags, what are you on about?
And the playing station.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, look, to be honest, I know you're saying about the tifo. I thought obviously the magpie was a bit dodgy, but I did like the landmarks around and stuff like that. I thought it was actually half decent, to be honest. But I mean, not compared to ours. Obviously, ours have been a lot better. Um, but I think it's good to see that clubs, whoever they are actually making an effort with this sort of thing.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? I think that's about it for me. Kev, have you got any housekeeping I may have missed or anything like that?
No. I just thought, like you say, it's one of those, isn't it? When you look at the start of the season before a ball was kicked,
Yeah.
Shearer, all their social media people, every pundit, we're not going to get 11 points. We're not going to win a match. Easy 6 points. I'd love for every single one of them now to come on and do same videos that they all did at the start of the season and be like, yeah, do you know what? We got this wrong. Because,
Are you their chairman? That would be interesting.
I mean, that was hilarious, wasn't it? When we got promoted and he tweets out going, prepare for the derbies, train well. And then we've slapped your £500 million team around for 2 games. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure Shearer won't be on Match of the Day tonight. He'll have some issues. He'll be washing his hair or something. Yeah, these are the moments for me where we get the result we deserve, but we won't be remembered for it, if that makes sense. We as a fan base will, but tonight on Match of the Day, it'll be a quick, Sunderland did a double on the derby. That'll be the game and that'll be the result. We won't get the time it deserves, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
All they've spoken about, if you look on social media now, go on X if you're bored, all they're talking about is Man City winning the Lemonade Cup.
Yeah.
Well, there's bigger games that have happened today. I would say the Forest Spurs game was probably bigger than the Carabao Cup. The derby was bigger than the Carabao Cup. Villa West Ham was probably bigger than the Carabao Cup. But
if I must, the Celtic game was even bigger than the Carabao Cup.
This is my problem with it: is massive games have happened, but the Carabao Cup with Arsenal and City is all that's taken the media. I guarantee you that's probably all they talk about on Match of the Day, even though it's not a Premier League fixture.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of housekeeping, have you missed anything? No. Do we say mind the gap?
It's only 1 point. No, I'd rather
Still a
not.
gap.
I mean, I just want to touch on what you said there, Kev. I mean, I think obviously, I know what you're saying. The Carabao Cup, it's not really got the glamour and stuff and that, but however, it is a major cup in this country and a route into Europe. Not that either City or Arsenal is going to take up the option of going in the Europa League or whatever it is. But yeah, I mean, it will get first place on Match of the Day because it is a major final. I think you're right. I think the Forest Spurs game is probably then going to get second billing.
Yeah.
It's one of those because I think our particular match is, something special. It is probably the best derby in the country. I know we're biased, but obviously it goes back a long way. Obviously, when you look at the history, going back to obviously King Charles I and stuff like that, then obviously it gives you an idea. It's in a way, it's probably a bit like Rangers and Celtic, where there's actually, there's this sectarian with religion, but there's a reason why ours is a rivalry. It's not just pure footballing.
Yeah.
So that, I don't know if we missed anything else.
No. Unless they're building up on Match a Day to put us last, but to do the rest in all 5 minutes and give us the other 55 minutes that they're on.
I think we'll get a fair crack. I think we'll get a fair crack. But it's Match of the Day too. It's never as good as the normal one. Not that the normal one's as good as it used to be anyway. I think the only other thing that we've probably missed on is I think one of us might owe Luke O'Nien an apology for his little meltdown in the group chat during the game.
Nah,
I can't hear you, Adam. Adam, are you breaking up?
No, he can suffer.
Yeah.
What was it you said? hook him off after the 23rd minute or something, wasn't it? And I went,
Yeah.
Hey,
calm
I
down.
was getting a bit upset. Okay.
It is difficult, I know,
Yeah,
but
I think for me at that time it was more the pressure that you guys probably agree in the circumstances. It was more the pressure was getting to us. We were getting bombarded wave after wave of attack, and at the time I felt Luke's going to struggle. Like he's going to struggle with the upheaval of the amount of attacks because, as you've mentioned there, Robin, they've got a very pacey attack. They've got a Gordon is rapid, Alanga's rapid, Voldemort is as slow as the Piccadilly Circus. But nevertheless, they want to press and they want to push hard, and that's what they were doing. And poor Luke, obviously, he's admitted himself, as I said before, he made the mistake. It was on his weak foot that he tried to clear it as well, which doesn't help matters. And that's why I was like, right, get him off. I want the brick wall that is Naughty. Don't get me
I
wrong,
don't.
I have a feeling next game, Naughty's back.
I don't buy into that weak foot rubbish. I mean, I've seen Luke O'Nien use his left foot plenty of times and ping the ball 60, 70 yards, smash penalties in the back of the net with the left foot. You know, he uses it just as well. I mean, he chooses at times to use it taking free kicks.
True.
You know, he just, to me, as I said, he panicked a little bit, didn't catch the ball right. And yeah, they made us pay for it.
Yeah.
the only other thing you haven't mentioned, Adam, and I think it deserves it, is
Go
just
on.
fair play to the club for the housery on social media.
Oh, yes.
The
Apologies.
sort of
Yes.
things they have come out with post match have
Yeah.
been brilliant. The "It's happened again" tweet,
Yeah.
Chef's kiss, the changing their header to obviously Beheady Howe's Black and White Army, and it's just our fans having an absolute party in the terraces whilst their
Can I?
fans
I'm
evacuate.
just going to touch on that. I've heard two. I've heard a rumor and obviously a different thing. Obviously, they did the whole display and everything like that they wanted. From what I understand, obviously, the club were trying to do a bit of housery, and apparently they're trying to wind them up. I don't know if it's true. If it is the club and that was the club that done it, fair play. You have played housery at its finest. Because I don't think that man's going to have a job probably in the next week or so. So that is fair play. And obviously their lovely momentum saying you've been gone so long. We only played you in March and we beat you in March. Not March, sorry. December. And we beat you. So it hasn't been that long. But thanks for coming. But other than that, lads, I think we'll tidy it up there. Great pod, great result. There's still in our shadow. Thanks to you for joining me though, Kev.
Yeah, pleasure as always, mate. We just now got to put up for 2 weeks of nothing while we wait for the Spurs game.
Exactly. We'll find something to talk about. We always do. Robin, thanks for joining me.
No, thank you, mate. And yeah, I mean, like I say, it's 3 weeks we haven't got a game now. So, yeah, it's going to be worse for them because they've got to put up with that for 3 weeks without the distraction of a game.
I'm sure we can keep them entertained somehow. And other than that, thanks everyone for listening in. We wanted to do this straight away on Derby to get it out for you all to enjoy our lovely thoughts and opinions on it. If you've got any questions, you know where we are, fire them at us. All I've got to say is thank you for everyone. We'll see you on the next one. And Kev, do you want to end it with a certain 3 words?
Nah. Let Robin do it.
Go on then.
No. Go on.
Oh, he's gone polite.
Should we keep it family friendly then? Mind the gap.